where dating, love, and yes, sex do not come with an expiration date. I am Laurie Gerber, your host, your dating coach, your truth teller, and a firm believer that women over 50 deserve the best love of their lives. And that's what we're chasing together. And today we are doing something very special with a wonderful guest named Joan Price. She is a fierce advocate for happy, healthy, delicious sex as we age. She herself is 82 years old. She has been talking about sex for the last 20 years. She has written so many amazing books and very recently relaunched her seminal work, Naked at Our Age, a new edition. And we're going to talk about what's new over the last 15 years when it comes to sex over 50, over 60, sex after loss, sex as our bodies change, as our hormones change. This is a topic that brings up so much confusion for people. If you watched season 1, you know that we have all these obstacles in the way of believing in healthy, lasting love. And one of them is that we don't have faith in our ability to have a great sex life. And having a great sex life is what differentiates finding your partner from finding a new friend. And so, if we do not address that obstacle, we are not going to feel free and ready to pursue healthy, lasting love. That is why I invited this internationally recognized expert on sexuality into the room with me to discuss what has changed and what we can do about it. Here's what Joan and I cover. I'm looking at my notes because I already recorded with her. It's the first of all, two kinds of desire we have at this age in our life. I didn't know there were two kinds. Number two, if you're considering stopping having sex or giving up on sex, the question you need to ask yourself. Number three, what is the biggest mistake people make when they try to bring up sex with a partner and how to fix it, how to use the right language? She literally is going to give you scripts for how you can talk about sex. She's going to redefine ED. I did not understand the real definition of erectile dysfunction. This was a learning session for me. And the biggest myth about grief and sex, busted for those of you who are dealing with loss. Those are just some of the topics we cover in today's conversation. So take a deep breath. This is a shame-free zone. We're going to dive right into it. Hi, Joan. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Lori. I'm so happy to be here.
It is a very timely moment in your life and in the life of that beautiful book behind your head, Naked at Our Age, because it just very recently relaunched after 15 years since it originally came out. Woo, exciting. I want to know two really important things. First of all, well, the most important thing I want to know is what did you do in the new edition? What has changed since 2010 to now 2026 that you needed to do
Um,
a new edition?
the original Naked at Our Age came out in 2011, and it was really the first of its kind that compiled stories from real people expressing their own experiences, asking intimate sex questions, paired with experts in the field who answered their questions, along with my running commentary. And the book won 2 awards, was shortlisted for a third the year it came out. And then it just kept selling and kept getting media attention year after year. One of the best sex books, the New York Times said, and this was just 2 years ago. This wasn't 15
Right.
years
Well,
ago.
since Dr. Ruth stopped airing,
That
we
might have been
we
part of
need
it.
answers, and that's not going away.
That's right. And those questions are still the questions people are asking now.
Right. Right.
So, to answer your second question, what change? What am I doing differently in this new edition? I added a new introductory chapter and I added a new chapter at the end that's about if I were writing this book now, what would be different? What would I add? What would I change? So, the most of the book hasn't changed. because become a
It's
classic.
timeless. Yeah,
So
it's timeless
why
and
change
universal.
it? But I updated information in that final chapter, and I'm
So
so
we've
proud of it.
found that the clitoris is actually even bigger than we thought. Like what has
Well, I knew
changed?
that, but not everybody does. Yes,
Okay,
the
okay.
clitoris
So
is
what else?
actually a huge network of nerve endings. Yes, we love that. And one of the other things that changed is that with the new edition, the font size is bigger. Hello,
Because
hello,
we're older.
please. And darker and easier to read, and
Yes.
has a brilliant new cover. And I'm so proud.
Yes,
So
and you
happy.
know women our age and older still want to read books. We're that age, right? Where we still would
Not
like to
just
read, be
women.
able to read a book.
Well, yes, and not just women, because I have a lot of questions from men, and I still
Sure.
get a lot of questions from men. So this embraces every gender, every orientation.
Great. What is give me one other thing that has changed over the last 15 years that you had to speak about in the next edition here?
Online dating.
Yeah. How
Because in
has
the
that
original
changed?
edition, in my dating chapter, I talk about online dating just very briefly, but I recommend other ways of meeting people. I kind of scoffed at that online dating thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm
for
sure it's a
heaven's sake.
passing phase.
That's embarrassing.
Whoops.
That's embarrassing to me. I met my current partner through online
That's
dating.
funny.
Everybody does. So
Oh.
yeah, I kind of said, well, how would I
You just
supposed to
ate a
know?
little bit of crow and
I
readdressed the
did a
topic.
little crow. Even
Amazing.
though I'm vegan, I ate a little crow.
A little bit, yes.
Tofu crow.
Wonderful. And that's really very helpful, obviously, because a lot of my listeners, I'm really trying to raise their hope about what's possible with
Oh,
online dating.
yes,
So
it's
you
all
as an
possible.
example, it's all
Oh,
possible.
yes.
I call these episodes where people come on to substantiate hope episodes. Right. It's not just an episode of a podcast, it's to give hope, and you are representing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So naked at any age.
Naked at our age.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry. The reason I said naked at any age, and we'll cut this whole part, is because my podcast is called Love at Any Age.
Yes, I
So
know.
naked at any age is my combination of your podcast and my podcast and your book.
So combine
Okay.
them, loving being naked at
Naked
any
at
age.
exactly. Love me. Yes, that's what I'm for. Exactly. So, what originally inspired you to write the book back in, I assume
Ah,
before 2011? Yeah.
oh, good question. Well, I had written one senior sex book, Better Than I Ever Expected, Straight Talk About Sex After 60. I thought that was going to be my only senior sex book. Little did I know. But it celebrated the joys of older age sexuality because I was in a wonderful relationship, really with the love of my life. Uh, this was Robert Rice, whom I met when I was 57. He was 64. I wrote the book when I was 61 and he was 68. And it was talking about how no, sex isn't the same as it was when we were young, but in so many ways, it's better. It's better.
I
And
agree
so
with you,
I
Joan.
talked about that, and I had a few sexually seasoned women. This was a book for women where they weighed in on their experiences too. It was all about how great sex can be at our age. But then I started getting emails or live questions from people who stopped me in the gym, in the grocery store, in audiences when I talked about Better Than I Ever Expected. And they said, well, that's great. You're having good sex, but I'm not. And here's why.
Mhm.
So they meant it kind of as a partly as a challenge, but really underneath it, they were saying, so help me. Where do I find help? And there
Right.
really wasn't any place to ask those questions.
Okay. So sex is tricky at any age, as far as I'm
Oh, yeah.
concerned. Okay. But something changes, and I work with a market of people over 50. That's my favorite group for similar reasons, I think, to why you like speaking to who you like speaking to is because I think it gets better. I think menopause is this amazing portal, and after
Oh,
menopause is such an amazing time.
transformational.
Transformational, exactly. So what is different? Or maybe I'm sure there are too many things to name that are different, but what are the top two or three things that people said to you that had you think, oh, we have to write for this particular audience?
Well, the things that are different really fall under this umbrella of the old ways don't work the way they used to anymore, or don't work at all.
Right.
And so do we give up? Is that okay? Sex was great
Exactly.
when it happened, but no more.
To everything a
And
season.
yeah, and that was everything from desire doesn't happen spontaneously anymore, if at all. Erections don't happen spontaneously, if at all. Um, Vaginal dryness, vaginal discomfort or pain. Intercourse is not comfortable or pleasant or even arousing as it used to be. I can only have, I'm kind of giving you this big, massive
Yeah, I love
list.
it. This is great.
I
Let
can only
everyone.
have orgasms with a vibrator. I can't with my partner. All of these things, which all have solutions. That's the thing. They all have solutions or workarounds. And
Right.
part of it is an attitude adjustment. Given our new reality, how do we need to look at sex? How do we need to change how we do sex?
Yes.
How do we communicate with a partner or find a new one? All these things.
Yeah. Well, the whole reason I invited you here was because I heard you give an interview where you talked about the changing nature of desire and the two different kinds of desire. And
Yeah.
that was such a light bulb moment for me, right? It was just personally validating to me in the changes that I've experienced in my body. So let's solve some problems. Let's take that beautiful list you just gave us. Can you just talk about the two types
Of
of desire that
desire.
you know I'm speaking about, that everyone
I
has to
do.
wait to hear what they are,
Yeah.
and what this means for the potential of re-engaging in sex or improving one's sex life, whether it's dating or in a relationship.
This is one of the biggest things. So I want to give credit to a wonderful resource, which is Emily Nagoski's book, Come As You Are.
Mm.
This is where I learned all of this. And there are other people who have written about it, talked about it, and she didn't invent it, but she explains it in such a wonderfully clear way. So to try to narrow that down to something we could fit in a couple of minutes, there are really two distinct kinds of desire. There is spontaneous desire, which is hormone driven, which is, oh my gosh, I really feel sexy. Oh boy, is that person hot? Okay, rip off my clothes and let's get to it already. Now, this doesn't happen at our age because it's hormone driven and our hormones have gone. Do, 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 do,
Because we're
do.
not supposed to be making babies. We're not biologically programmed to
That's right. And that's what
procreate.
this was about,
Right.
is this was survival of the species,
Right.
to have
Very,
spontaneous desire when we're
very
fertile.
good.
But now that that is has trickled away, what we can still access is responsive desire. And that means desire in response to stimulation and pleasure. So, in other words, let's say we're thinking, oh, I don't know, I'm not really in the mood, I'm not feeling anything, I don't think I care about having sex today at all. But if once I get started, I like it, then that's a reason to get started first. Well, let's just cuddle a while and then let's kiss and let's touch and let's see what happens. And if what happens is you then start getting aroused, you then start feeling desire, that's responsive desire. Response to pleasure and stimulation.
So
Did I make
valuable.
that clear enough?
So clear and so problematic.
Ah,
Because we have been taught as women, I'll generalize here, but understand that I can't. is that we are supposed to have spontaneous desire. Spontaneous desire is not only what makes us feminine and sexy, but it is what men want. They want to feel desired. They want to feel that we want them. Right. And so I would like a further pep talk on how to quiet those cultural voices, as well as I want to talk about how do we talk with our partners about what it means. That reframes sex entirely, right? That takes sex completely out of what people call chemistry, which is really hormones, into like creative co-play, right? Like it has a completely different purpose. It has a completely different impetus and motivation and help us enter this new world order that you're suggesting.
First, what you said about how we were raised. We need to unlearn our upbringing. And that is a chapter in Naked at Our Age. Unlearning our upbringing, women's stories. Another chapter is unlearning our upbringing, men's stories.
Right.
And these come together the older we get. Men need some extra stimulation and pleasure also. Men are not Mr. Ever Ready anymore.
Right.
Oh, I see
Good
you
point.
pant, pant, pant. I can't wait any longer. That's not what's happening for men either. At this time of our life, and by this time I mean over 50, 60, 70, and beyond, we are more alike than we are different.
Mm.
And that's the first time that's happened.
Very
Think
fair.
about that.
Right. Since 8 years
But
old.
now it does happen. And so it is fine to just say to a partner, a potential partner, look, at our age, you know that we do not experience spontaneous desire. We need slow arousal. We need a lot of warm up. And we're not doing foreplay and the main event because what we used to call foreplay might be the main event. So let's take out the goals. Let's take out the pressure. There are many ways that we can sexually arouse each other and please each other and enjoy orgasm that don't require an erection, that don't require, I mean, we can let go of all of these notions of what real sex is supposed to be. I mean, think about it. How many things have we let go of that we were taught as
Right.
teenagers and young adults, especially women? Oh my gosh, but
Right.
men also. What we were taught that we've said, nah,
Yeah. We
not
don't believe
true.
that anymore. We don't eat 15 servings of bread a day for our health anymore. We don't think cigarettes are healthy. We
Oh my
probably
gosh,
don't even think we married the right person.
we
We
got
change.
that.
We
Yes,
change every
yes,
day. We do change. So we can change
yeah.
that.
So, what questions did I skip?
Well, you're just leading me to the next question I have, which is really because I am in a constant dialogue with women who are campaigning for give it up. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
am a person who gave it up in my 30s, right? I'm one of those people who was like, I have kids now. You know the drill. You're tired. You're similarly, right? The hormones are going to the kids, right? You're bonding with the kids, you're breastfeeding, you're not sleeping, you're not having sex with your husband. But then discovered that was hurting my marriage, brought sex back into the picture, and it has only improved since then to like, I think it is one of the most beautiful, what's the word I want to use? These menopause. It's the most beautiful arena, playing field,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
palette to paint on. It's this beautiful exercise that my husband and I get to do and have as an activity that we both care about and are invested in, a common interest
Yeah,
and something that brings us closer together, more intimate. It breaks down our barriers. It creates vulnerability. It's pleasurable. It's good for your health. It's it seems like there are very few things with such a bang for the buck.
exactly. And such a buck for the bang.
Exactly. And so I want you to help me. And so I feel like I'm constantly trying to convince women you're just leaving money on the table if you're not bang for the buck, buck for the bang. You're just leaving. money and progress and good feelings on the table if you don't push yourself to reconsider your quote unquote interest in sex. But that's kind of pushy of me, right?
Yeah, kind of is because when people are pushed into a corner like that, their normal reaction is don't push me into a
Right.
corner
Defend.
rather
Yeah.
than, oh, wow, yeah, let me stay in this corner until I understand more. So I think, it has to be gentle, of course. And I hear all the time from people who are partnered, long-term partnered, and one person has decided no more sex for me, and the
Right.
other one is saying this is killing me.
Right.
And so one of the questions, if someone is in a long-term relationship or even any relationship, even short-term, and they're thinking, okay, that's enough of sex, don't even care, don't like it anymore. Instead of just unilaterally saying, okay, we're done, is to give it a chance because you want the relationship to last, right? You want the intimacy. What is it you do want? What is it that you don't want? What is it you do want?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it isn't that you don't want sex, rather, you don't want the kind of sex you've been having. So, pause, big question, right? If it is that you don't want the kind of sex you've been having, what is it that you don't want? And how can you talk to your partner? And we're talking as if everyone's partnered. I know they aren't, and I'd be happy to answer single questions later, but I just wanted to insert that. What is it that would please you, that would arouse you? What do you want instead? And how can you talk to your partner about that? And I've got a whole section in Naked at Our Age about how to have the conversation. How do you talk about sex?
Give us one tidbit about that. Like, what's
About
the big mistake people make in talking to their partners about sex, and how do we correct it?
one of the big issues is people will tend to be accusatory. Will say, you don't do this for me, or
Right.
you do that I don't like it, rather than using, as therapists call, I statements, capital letter I, in saying, I've realized that at this time of my life, I'm not aroused by having my nipples pinched, for just to pull an example out of the air. Instead, I really like slow sucking of my nipples. Could we do that instead? Yeah, rather than saying,
Chef's kiss.
you hurt me when you pinch my nipples. Well, then the person's going to go, oh, you, and go on the defensive and say,
Right.
I thought you liked that.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
used to like that.
Yeah.
But see, if we need to, let me start that again.
But
If we're in a relationship with a partner who really loves us and wants us to have pleasure, prioritizes our pleasure, then we need to take our partners on this ride of what we're discovering
right.
about our own sexuality. Our erogenous zones may have changed. How we like to be touched may have changed. Where we like to be touched. What kind of pressure, what kind of speed, what we want when we want it. Maybe a partner, for example, is going straight to the genitals and we're not ready to be touched there yet. Well, how does our partner know that unless we say, part of my slow arousal is that I need to be touched at different non genital parts of my body just to relax me and get me in the mood. And then when I start squirming and I
That's the
open my
signal.
I open my legs, then there's your signal. Okay,
Very good.
touch me there, but go slowly until you get the
Signal.
reaction that we
Right.
want. So
It's so
it's a
good what you're
matter,
saying.
and so many people will say, wait a minute, just giving instructions, that's really not sexy. Oh, it can be
Oh,
very sexy.
men love instructions, clear
Well, they actually do.
instructions.
They don't ask for
They
directions, but they
do.
like it.
They do. They want to know how to win and how to
Well,
please.
that's the thing. And I had that stated very clearly to me by a lover of some years ago who said, I really like it when you give me directions because I want to please you and it helps if I know how. Well, that couldn't be clearer, could it?
Well, again, asking for directions is different than liking receiving directions. It really
Yeah.
is different, right? My 100% across the board experience has been that men are dying for instructions. I mean, that's why they're coming to us, right? They actually want to know. And since every woman is different, we cannot give them universal answers. They have to get it from the person they're with. That it is the sexiest thing in the world to say it the way you put it, which is not criticism, but is expressing your desire in a positive
Yes.
and playful way.
Here's what
That's
I
the
want.
best
Here's
thing.
how you can help me.
Exactly. This is what I like. I mean, who doesn't want to hear that?
Well, I gotta say, some don't want to hear that.
Tell me
And we're
more.
not just talking about men getting directions from women, it's the other way around too. And
Hmm.
it's in non-gendered couples
Yeah,
also, or same-gendered couples, that everybody would benefit from being able to give, maybe open up this discussion, and you don't have to give those instructions in the moment unless they're warranted. You could also
right.
say at a non-sexy time of a time, could we, I'd really love to talk about how I'm discovering some things about how my sexuality has changed, and I'm sure you have too. And could we just talk about this? Let's take a walk
Yes.
and talk, or let's sit at the cut and have a cup of coffee and talk about this. I'd like to express some things that you have no way of guessing. And I'd love to know that about you too.
Brilliant. Now, I said something about who wouldn't want clear directions, and you said, Lori, that's making an assumption that's not exactly true. So I would like to hear what my mistake was.
There are plenty of people of any gender who feel, wait, don't criticize me in the bedroom. I know what I'm doing. And if you criticize me, I feel defeated. I feel minimized, demoralized, anxious, and I'm not even going to want to have sex with you.
Right.
So if you have a partner like that, and many people do, I'm sorry to say we do, then it's best to use what I described just now of kind of making an appointment to talk about it.
I see.
And then being very careful that you're not being critical, you're not phrasing what you're asking for as a criticism. You're
Yeah.
not saying you um, you put all the emphasis on intercourse when really what I want is oral, or I want to bring a sex toy into our sex play. I want to show you what brings me to orgasm these days.
Joan, what you're saying about timing and context of the conversation is really critical. And because
Yeah,
I'm thinking to myself, what do I spend the most time with my private clients doing? It's designing these conversations because it's a wonderful concept to think like in the moment when something's not going the way I wanted to in the bedroom, I'm going to be able to come up with the phrasing, that's going to be
yeah,
like just the right honest and just the right amount of grace and, keep the mood. It's a little unrealistic in a lot of situations, especially in situations in which there has been over time
yeah,
misunderstanding, misalignment, unfun sex, etc. So this idea of taking the time to really design that conversation thoughtfully,
yeah,
plan for it, bring your notes, not
yeah,
try to do it in the bedroom is a really
yeah.
smart move for those who are not just so eager to get the instruction list in the bedroom. Love that. Love that. Okay, let's get practical real quick.
Practical.
ED. It comes
It,
up all the I'm sure it's one of the most popular questions you
it
have.
is.
It is, I mean, I know we could talk for hours just about it, but I think the bottom line I want you to tease us with, because I'm going to tell everybody to get the book and I'm going to tell them to go to joanprice.com to get it, because then they can get it autographed. And I'm sure there's much more in the book about this, but how can set you talked about workarounds.
Yeah,
So talk about how sex can still be satisfying for both parties, all parties, when ED is on the scene.
I actually have an hour and a half webinar recorded that people can purchase for a very low price called Great Sex Without Penetration. And one thing I want to differentiate here is there's a difference between erectile dysfunction, true ED, and undependable erections,
Mm.
otherwise known, I credit Michael Castleman for this, erectile dissatisfaction. So, erectile dysfunction is when there is no erection ever, not first thing in the morning, not with masturbation, not with sex
Got
toys,
it.
does not happen.
Very
And
important distinction.
this can be, well, it always is a medical issue. It can be a product of certain surgeries or other causes. And I want to say that if you have, or your partner has true ED, that this needs to be brought to the attention of a doctor if it hasn't been already, because it can be a sign of heart disease, of diabetes, of neurological diseases. It can be a symptom of something very important. It's the canary in the coal mine, if people are old enough to remember that. Was
I
that
think my audience will know what you mean.
I think so. I know I've had younger
Write us
people
in the
go,
comments
the
if you don't.
canary in the where?
And the what?
What's a coal mine?
Totally.
Why are
You're in good
canaries in a
company
coal
here.
mine?
You're in
Yeah.
good company.
But what is a normal sign of aging is erectile dissatisfaction or undependable erections. Sometimes there's an erection, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes it lasts, sometimes it won't. So it's undependable for penetration. So, whichever the situation is, I will say a soft penis is capable of great pleasure, oral pleasure, sex toy pleasure, and a soft penis can experience orgasm without ever getting hard. Let that sink in. I know. And for the partners of people with undependable erections or erectile dysfunction, enjoy the feeling of giving pleasure to that soft penis, because your partner will really appreciate it, will love it, will have orgasms even if there is no erection, even if there is no ejaculation. Um, Orgasm is neurological. It happens in the brain. And you will be able to tell from the body language, from the vocalizations, that it's happening even if you don't see ejaculate. And maybe the penis is semi hard. Maybe it gets hard because you're giving it so much attention. Maybe not. But a soft penis is no reason to say, okay, sex won't happen today. And the owner of the penis, you can give pleasure with your hands, with your mouth, with a well placed sex toy. Don't give up on sex. Don't let it depend on an erection. An erection could be a special guest star,
Not a
sorry,
regular. Yes.
in this event. It doesn't happen. It doesn't have to be the main
Right.
event, though.
Do the penis owners know this already and the women are
No.
just not clued in, or nobody knows?
Well, some people know, but I
Because
would say
men,
it is,
penis owners are giving up on their own penises, right? It's
they
not
are,
just,
because they think that, oh, if I can't get an erection, then everything's doomed. Because remember the unlearning the upbringing part?
right,
Look at what
totally.
boys learned
Learn. Oh
growing
my
up.
God.
Look at this. Oh boy, are they going to want a piece of this? Oh,
Right.
they didn't know how to give orgasms to women. They've learned that along the way, I hope. But
Hope.
they thought what was enough was just, hey, look at this.
Right.
Did you come
And
yet?
and believe it or not, people are still sending dick pics, Joan, still
I
to this
know.
day. Okay. So a penis owner is listening to this podcast,
Good.
or someone who is dating or in a sexual relationship with a penis owner, what is the first step to experimenting with other options?
The best first step is to say, we're going to have a wonderfully arousing and satisfying sex date, and a hard penis will not be invited. Point of this is we're going to explore all the ways we can please each other and how we can give each other pleasure and orgasms without intercourse, without penetrative sex.
Great. Love it.
Let's see what else we can do.
Okay. Now let's bring in vaginal dryness to the story,
Mhm.
to this sex date, to this hypothetical sex date we've imagined. Talk about the solutions and steps with
We
that.
need lubricant. Of course, there's going to be vaginal dryness. That's the hormone part again. And our vaginal tissues are thinner, more delicate. They don't enjoy friction as much as they did because it hurts. So, what do? You add lubricant so that there is glide and cushion. And you'll see behind me some of my favorite lubricants. Let's see if I can
Yes,
adjust
and
here.
by the way, if you're listening to this and not watching it, come on over to YouTube. You can see these beautiful books, Naked at Our Age and After Grief, and these
Yes.
beautiful ageless erotica and this beautiful lubes and an award. I mean, come on over to YouTube for Love at Any Age, folks, because it is better when you can see us and you can see this beautiful woman, Joan Price.
Oh,
Okay.
I thank you.
Okay. Anyway,
And my
about lube.
beautiful host. So, lubricants are essential for any kind of genital touching. Even if you're just going to stroke anything, just put it out there right on the bedside table. I recommend, I've recommended this before, sex baskets,
Yes.
where you have a basket with everything you could need,
Love
or
that.
two baskets if what the two of you want are different, with the kind of lube that you like, the kind of lube
First we
that.
use my basket, then we use
Yes,
your
exactly.
basket.
Exactly. So there's the kind of lube that I like. There's the kind of lube that my partner likes. There's the sex toy that I want to be able to grab to assist in how we're pleasuring each other.
Love it.
That's in my basket. There's the sex toy that my partner wants to use. That's in that basket. A cleanup cloth would be good. And anything else you want, a blindfold, whatever else you might want to reach for. And you know what? Once you've got those sex baskets as a part of your routine, your partner will look and see what's in your sex basket and go, oh, okay, that's what we're going to enjoy today. And then you'll look in your partner's sex basket. Oh, boy. Oh, I can't wait to use that on you. It's very sexy.
Yes, it becomes part of the foreplay.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Okay, we're going to change the subject to something a little less exciting.
Oh,
And that is for those people who have lost a partner. Because this is an area of expertise you have that we have to address because, again, my listeners are over 50, and what happens over 50 is we change, we age, and we die,
yeah,
and we lose partners. And
yeah.
so before we end, and I do, there's so many directions we could go in, Joan. And if you have a favorite lube or a favorite, sex toy, we'll put it in the show notes. And we'll put, of course, the links to all your books in the show notes, and we'll encourage people to go to your website to buy an autographed copy of Naked at Our Age, which will, when this comes out, already be out for a few weeks. So very exciting timing. Um, but before we end, I do want to address how, I'm talking usually to daters, and daters are people who have experienced divorce or a really long time without a partner or a long ago or recent death of a loved one. And so, how
Yes.
does that kind of situation change the sex scene?
Well, I've written a whole book on that. Sex After Grief, Navigating Your Sexuality After Losing Your Beloved. I will say that I write from personal experience, and other grievers contributed their story, just like in Naked at
Mm,
Our Age. We have people who have lost their partners, and it talks about how, just how to see getting back into sex and dating at this age, and how you, if you're wanting to start to date, how you go slowly with getting sexual again. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be either celibacy or complete full blown everything you can do sexually. You can take baby steps, and how to have those conversations, and myths about sex and grief, and oh, so many things. We'll
What's
do
the
that, won't
number
we?
one? What? Yeah, we can do that, but give me what? Just because the calendar's so booked right now, and I can't wait. Give me one. What's the biggest myth you would say that people have about sex while grieving?
Well, the biggest myth, I think, is that 1 year date.
Mm,
Don't date for a year. Well, I
right,
mean, that's completely arbitrary. Some people are not ready to date for 8 years. Some people are ready to date the day after the funeral. It
right,
depends on so many things. Were you a caregiver to your partner? Did you grieve for years
right,
before your partner died, for example?
right.
Or, yeah, I
What
mean,
was the condition of your relationship when your partner died?
well, that too. But it's also, it's just something you can't predict.
Right,
And I could say you'll know when you're ready, but that's not even true. You might think you're ready and try it
right,
and then go, oh, no, no, back under the covers. I wasn't ready at
right,
all. Or you might say, why did I wait so long? So the idea that you should wait a year before, now, a year is maybe a good timing for doing anything big with financing, with getting married, with buying a house, with doing these major things that if they go wrong, you can't
right,
undo
right. Good
easily,
point.
that.
Right.
But dating, that's up to you. And
Beautiful.
it might be that you're really ready quickly, or you've been ready for a long time, or maybe you were in a long-term monogamous relationship. You've only had one partner in your entire life, and you want to see, well, what else is out there? That apart from my grieving, what else is out there? It's time to experience something. And it might not be that at all. So I encourage people to understand that your timeline is unique to you. There are questions that I have you ask to figure that out for yourself.
Great.
But don't let
Great.
anybody else say you shouldn't be dating yet, or you should be dating
Right.
already.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you. I am so excited to refer people to your books and to that webinar you spoke about on all the most critical topics people are facing when it comes to getting naked after
Yeah.
50, whether it's erectile dysfunction, vaginal dryness, grieving, changing levels of
You
desire,
said
whatever it
breathing,
is.
not breeding, right?
Grieving,
Oh,
grieving,
grieving. I thought it
grieving.
was breathing.
Breathing is good, I think. I think
It
we can
is. It
agree. Grieving is
is
not an
more
obstacle.
challenging now than ever.
So, thank you for your beautiful work and for making your journey and your pain productive
Thank you. And
for
hug your
so many.
sloth for me, please.
I will go hug my sloth. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. I encourage you to check the show notes below and get the link to Joan Price's website to order your copy of Naked at Our Age and see the other things she has to offer. So many wonderful things. Thank you for being here for this vulnerable conversation. I hope you agree that love and sex do not have an expiration date when you're here at Love at Any Age. Thank you for watching the podcast. If you like it, share it with someone else, please. And keep coming back. Next episode is at 7 a.m. on Friday, as usual. And the topic will be, drum roll please, how to stop picking the same guy over and over again. It is your Valentine's Day, your day before Valentine's Day episode, aimed to help you stop repeating the pattern of picking badly. See you at 7 a.m. on Friday. If you need more of me between now and then, you can binge watch all of season 1, see what you missed, or head on over to lauriegerber.com and check out my free webinar. See you next week.